Good morning and welcome back to day 297 of our 365 days of Bible study. At the moment we are looking at the Jesus story, which was recorded first by Mark and then copied into their Gospels with additions by Matthew and Luke. And today we come to another great turning point in the story of Jesus. This is the story of what happened on Palm Sunday, the beginning of Holy Week. Mark chapter 11, verses 1 to 11. And when they came close to Jerusalem, to Bethphage and Bethany, towards the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village over there. And just as you enter it, you will find a colt tied that no one has ever ridden. Untie it and lead it here. And if anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' just say, 'The chief has need of it,' and immediately he will send it back here." And off they went and found the colt tied outside the door by the crossroads, and they untied it. And some of the people standing there said to them, "What are you doing untying the colt?" And they answered them as Jesus had ordered, and they let them take it. And they led the colt to Jesus, and they threw their garments on it, and he sat on it. And many people spread out their garments on the road, and others were cutting down branches from the trees and were spreading them on the road. And those who were walking along in front and those following were shouting out, "Hosanna! Welcome to the one who is coming in the Lord's name. Praised is the coming kingdom in the name of our father David's Lord. Hosanna in the highest." And Jesus entered Jerusalem and the temple. Having looked around at it all, as it was getting late, he went back out to Bethany with the 12. So the curtain now rises on that drama which Jesus had predicted 3 times. Mark's vivid use of language, his attention to detail, and the lack of much theological interpretation of the event point to this being a valuable eyewitness account. Probably once again this is Peter speaking to Mark, writing in Rome 40 years after the event. Some suspect that Mark himself was also present at some of the events he describes. We can tell from the text that Jesus had a previous arrangement with the colt's owner and had been forewarned that the beast was untrained. As Jesus rides towards Jerusalem, the crowd spontaneously celebrates, spreading garments and foliage before him and following him into the city. Their cry in Aramaic is Hosanna, more or less meaning God save us. The rest of the crowd's acclamation comes from the psalm used to bless pilgrims coming into Jerusalem. Praise to the one who is coming in the Lord's name. But Mark wants us to understand something deeper and adds, "Praised is the coming kingdom in the name of our father David's Lord," which, given time, the church would interpret as a messianic acclamation. Hosanna in the highest probably comes from another Aramaic acclamation, meaning, "You who dwell on high, save us now." Although he doesn't press the point about the messianic significance of the Palm Sunday procession in the way that the other Gospels do, it must have been there in the back of his mind. What people on that journey thought they were doing, though, is more difficult for us to judge. Jesus had deliberately chosen to enter Jerusalem in this way and may well have had the prophecy in Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9 in mind. But the way he did that journey was ambiguous enough to keep people guessing about what his specific intentions were. Many people wanted a military Messiah to throw the Romans out, or a priestly one to cleanse the temple. But here, Jesus comes almost unnoticed, fulfilling a prophecy about a king who would bring peace. Mark wants us to know that Jesus again and again tells people not to speak about him, not to make him a public spectacle. His majesty is to be hidden under an outward appearance that is ordinary and far from regal. The king comes to his city indeed, but he's riding on a borrowed, untrained foal, and the acclamations of his followers are so understated that even the Roman occupiers don't notice them. Tomorrow, the drama moves into the temple precincts themselves with a surprising message for everyone. The cleansing of the temple is not what people expected of the Messiah, but something completely different. And I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about that then.